Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders opened recently last night at midnight for where I lived, and I didn't even try. Like I didn't even bother. Like I did go to the websites, but it's funny. It wasn't for me. You see, I thought I had done something was wrong because it didn't show like it was available at any of the sites that I went to. So I thought, oh, maybe it's not actually tonight at midnight, it's tomorrow at midnight, whatever. But it didn't even matter because it's like I wasn't even going to try. I knew it was pointless. I've never ordered something online successfully, like pre-ordered in this way. I usually don't get things at launch anyway. And it's probably a good thing that I didn't even try because from what I've read and from what I've seen, it was just a huge mess. So it wouldn't have mattered if I had tried anyway. But I woke up this morning and I was like, huh, I wonder if my local GameStop would be, had some available. Because, I know they were offering it in store, obviously, for pre order. And the funny thing is, I haven't been to a GameStop in so long that when I looked up the on Google Maps, where the local GameStops are, I noticed that a lot of the ones near me had closed. So I was like, oh man, if I'm gonna go to a GameStop, I'm gonna have to do a bit of a drive, as if I needed any more reason not to go to a GameStop. But I had nothing else better to do this morning, and I was like, screw it, I want to go. I want to go see what's the deal. So I drive out, about a half hour to my semi-local GameStop, and there are indeed people lining up. The funny thing is, I thought the store opened at 10. It opened at 11, so I was really early, like way earlier than I needed to be. So that's probably why the line wasn't very long. I'd say there was at least like 14 people or something like that. So I decided to get in line, not realizing that I was way earlier than I needed to be. But anyway, so I'm waiting there. Met some cool guys there. There are two guys next to me talking about stuff, Switch and video games in general and stuff. So of course I joined in on the conversation. Really made the time go by a lot quicker. We were talking about all different kinds of things, mostly Nintendo games, but other games too. I was wearing my Street Fighter 6 shirt, which has Ken on it. So one of the first things they're like, "Oh, were you a Ken main?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a Ken main." So yeah, it's cool. We talked about Street Fighter, Tekken, all that stuff. We agreed that Tekken sucks right now, Tekken 8, because of the new patch and everything. Just fun times all around. And so before they opened the GameStop, they actually passed out some flyers or whatever you call it, depending on what you wanted, the bundle or the regular Switch. And I gotta say, I've never been to this GameStop. Really nice people there, really great customer service, and it's a very nice GameStop. It's probably the biggest GameStop I've ever been in. It's no wonder it hasn't gone out of business. It's really big and it's really nice. Got some really nice things. I actually wanted to shop around a bit, but if we couldn't do that at the moment because you got to stay in line and everything. But I'll go back there one day maybe. I got to go back there to pick it up anyway. Yeah, big spoiler alert. I got a Switch too. I got a bundle with Mario Kart, so I don't have to pay $80 for it. I only paid 50. So, and that's all I got. They had other stuff for pre-order, Donkey Kong and a bunch of other accessories, which I'm not going to buy. I'm going to buy Donkey Kong, but I'm not going to buy the accessories and stuff like the camera and all that other stuff. Just the console and Mario Kart for me today. But it was a fun experience. Maybe I should do this more often. It seems a lot easier than doing it online, and got to talk to some cool people, and had a nice little conversation. I don't get to talk to people much about video games and stuff in person, so it was very nice, very cool guys. And I pre-ordered a Switch too. Win-win. It was really win-win. And it just reminded me, like, no wonder I never pre-order online. That's such a hassle. Nothing quite beats, I guess, going to a store and actually buying something, if you manage to. I would say, like I said, I got there and there wasn't a huge line. But by the time the store had opened, there was a long line. I'm glad I went early, even though it was a bit of a mistake on my part because I didn't realize what time it opened. But yeah, if I had gotten there an hour later or whatever, I would have been way far back in the line. I don't know how many units they had, to be honest, because I was like I said, like the 15th person in line or whatever. So yeah, that was my Switch 2 pre-ordering experience. Do you guys have any stories about that? If so, put it in the comments and I'll see you next time.